Computer company IBM released robot music, Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign made the most cursed AI music video you've ever seen, and even Peloton is paying out far better royalties than Spotify. Let's talk about it. First up, stationary bike brand Peloton is paying artists a lot more than Spotify. And I'm not talking like a little bit more, I'm talking 10 times as much as Spotify. Artists are reportedly earning anywhere between 3 and 4 cents per stream on Peloton's airwaves, which if you're new to the music streaming world might not sound like a lot of money, but when you compare that to Spotify paying anywhere between 3 and 5 tenths of a penny per stream, it starts to seem like a much bigger deal. However, despite these generous payouts, Peloton was not always the good guy in the music streaming world. Back in 2020, they got slapped with a $300 million lawsuit, and surprisingly, it had nothing to do with the fact that their bikes cost as much as a used car. If you're not aware of how Peloton works, you buy the bike, regret your purchase, and then you have to maintain a paid membership that gives you access to virtual spin classes synced to music. You see where I'm going with this? Peloton, a multi-billion-dollar company, forgot that you have to pay to use other people's music in your products. So now they're cleaning up their act and paying artists both performance and mechanical royalties. Mechanical royalties being a charge for incorporating someone's music into a physical product, and performance royalties being a fee you have to pay to the artist for playing their music in a public fashion. Performance royalties are the ones that places like restaurants and radio stations have to pay to the artist. So what's stopping you from placing that order for 10 Pelotons, throwing your own song on repeat, and rolling in the dough? Well, getting placed on Peloton isn't that simple. Peloton only has a specific selection of songs on their bikes, and the songs themselves are tied to specific classes. So if you're an artist that wants their fair share in streaming royalties, you better stop passing out mixtapes at tourist destinations and start passing them out at your local LA Fitness. Recent numbers actually show that it might be a more viable strategy than you think, because the UK just hit a 20-year high in music sales. The milestone follows a recent trend of increasing physical music sales, which means it's time for millennials to ask the terrifying question of, are CDs retro now? Believe it or not, Gen Z is driving physical music sales through the roof, and a sudden mass realization that holding on to real objects is really cool. Although we're all really happy that there's a future for physical music sales, it leaves artists thinking, if everyone's spending so much money on music, then why is there $7.83 in my bank account? Going into theory mode here, I think that a lot of the growth that the music industry is seeing is hyper concentrated at the top of the music industry food chain. The top 0.1% of artists seem to be shattering records on the daily, but the vast majority of artists are still just desperately trying to find ways to pay rent. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the robots are coming for our jobs. What you just heard was one of 5 tracks on tech company IBM's first album, Sounds of Semiconductors. In their own words, these vinyl discs contain a sonic journey inspired by what goes into the creation of a silicon wafer at IBM Research. The company sampled different machines and processes at 2 of their fabrication labs and arranged them into full songs accompanied by a handful of actual instruments. The idea and execution are actually pretty good, but it's just a tad creepy. Unfortunately, it wasn't even close to the creepiest thing the music industry saw this month. That title goes to the horrifying AI puppet nightmare that is the music video for 5:30 by Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign. I'm gonna say viewer discretion is advised here. It's not graphic, but if you have little kids in the room, they might be scarred by the AI music video for the next year. I'll give you 2 more seconds. Okay, here it is.
5:30, the call missing. No text backs or call misses. I feel like we all victims. Nights been getting long. Drunk testing, I should not do Patron. I hop on the phone, turn the music up.
I hate it so much. It's so horribly creepy, but how uncomfortable this video makes me aside, this does mark a pretty huge milestone for AI. I think we've all seen AI art posted to the internet and ripped apart in comment sections, but that doesn't seem to be too present with the 5:30 music video. There's tons of discourse around what the video is depicting, the parallels that can be drawn between the lyrics and Kanye's very public previous relationships, but there doesn't seem to be many people talking about the fact that the video is AI generated. This is probably one of the most successful applications of AI art within mainstream media to date. Now, of course, because this is Kanye we're talking about, every trace of the music video being officially uploaded is gone. It's been full on wiped. But if you do want to subject yourself to the full music video, it's been re-uploaded to YouTube a bunch, so you can find it there. You know what else got re-uploaded to YouTube a bunch? Kendrick Lamar's diss track against Drake. Not like us. And Drake is now officially doing what he's been hinting at through early legal proceedings and suing the label that both he and Kendrick are signed to, Universal Music Group. Let's go over some of the things that Drake is alleging in this lawsuit because it actually gave us some new information. First thing, Drake is accusing Universal Music Group of removing copyright restrictions for Not Like Us, allowing YouTube and Twitch creators to freely react to the song and uploads on their own channels. Quick explainer if you're not familiar with how copyright usually works on these platforms. A song's creator can choose to have YouTube comb through all of its uploads looking for copyrighted audio that they own. If YouTube does successfully find copyrighted material within an upload, the copyright holder can either request the video be taken down or take a large cut of the revenue that the video generates. Drake claims that UMG has historically always copyright claimed YouTube uploads, but for the first time they opted to whitelist Not Like Us. They allow creators to not just react to the song, but also monetize and profit off of the reactions that they posted. Drake thinks UMG did this purposefully to encourage large content creators to spread the song. He's also alleging that UMG wanted to damage his reputation to gain leverage in their upcoming contract negotiation. There are a lot of big claims being thrown around in this lawsuit, and UMG insists they have no clue what Drake is talking about. UMG stated, quote, "Not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical." And they even go on to take a small jab at Drake by saying, quote, "He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG for distributing that artist's music." This lawsuit has the potential to be quite the landmark case for the music industry. And although it may seem excessive to sue your own label, let's not forget how rough of a ride this was for Drake. During his diss track back and forth with Kendrick Lamar, the guy had his house shot at, a song calling him a creep hit #1, and he had an entire stadium full of fans and prominent figures in the hip hop community rapping along to that song 5 times in a row. I'm sure that this feels like forever ago to all of us, but I have a feeling that this still feels like yesterday for Drake. This story is probably going to evolve pretty quickly, so we'll be coming back to this one soon with updates. You know what else just came back? TikTok. Yep, the January 19th deadline for the US TikTok ban has come and gone. And when users tried to log on, they were greeted with a very dramatic message that read, "Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now." A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. And after that, users were treated to a historically anticlimactic 14 hours before the app was promptly unbanned. This sudden reversal happened because Donald Trump himself assured the company that when he gets in office, he'll issue an executive order to give the company more time to figure out a new ownership arrangement. However, given that he wasn't actually the president at the time of saying this, it can read a bit more like, "Trust me, bro." If you're not caught up, the US government has told TikTok that they need to be sold to an American company to keep operating within the country. Government officials claim that so much data on American citizens being accessible to China raises security concerns. But how does all this affect musicians? Well, depending on who you are, you might think that TikTok is either the worst or the best thing to happen to the music industry. TikTok has completely turned music marketing on its head and created a path to success without the help of a label. So we're not just waiting on the edge of our seats to see if they're cutting off our supply of those sweet memes. We're waiting to see what the next era of music promotion will look like. It's a high stakes time for the music industry, but however this sorts itself out, subscribe and I'll keep you tapped in.